very good afternoon to you, and welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and on today's show, along with my co-host, author Tyhe Egar, I will be looking at this week's hottest topics. I'm taking a look into the world of writing and self-publishing. More to come in a mere moment. Now, you can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the show page. Keep scrolling down. It will take you there. Now, if it doesn't let you comment, that's because you haven't signed up with Blog Talk. And you can sign up very easily with Facebook or Twitter, and it will let you comment on the show, tell us how we're doing, etc., etc. So go do that now so you can get involved with the chat. So you can also call us with your questions and comments to weigh in on our topics, or even start your own, because it's been known here on Xandermonium, on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or on Twitter, you can tweet us. My Twitter handle is at XanderGibb, XanderGibb, capital X, capital G, and Tyhe's Twitter handle is at Egar, TYHEPAULEGAR, capital T, capital P, capital E. Tweet me if you are too shy, and I will endeavor to make your point for you. Yes, I will. Oh, yes, indeed. It's 84 degrees here in New York City, and my family are out in the yard having a barbecue and a beer, and that's where I wish I was right now. But I am here with you guys, ready to chat with you and to talk to my good friend Tyhe. So this week was a surprising one in many ways for me. Firstly, my book was published earlier than anticipated and is now available via Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all good bookstores. It's called The Boy from Beyond the Ice House and is a good read, or so I am being told. Now, the process of getting published nowadays has been somewhat simplified, thankfully, and it's now possible to publish and sell your book a lot more easily, and we'll be giving you some insider information about that later, as both Tyhe and myself have published our own books. Yes, we are powerhouses and publisher houses now. So happy 4th of July to all of you this weekend. I hope you're enjoying the 4th of July weekend. Like most of us, we had to cancel our 4th of July celebrations due to Hurricane Arthur. Who would have thought? So it's a tradition we've come to associate with celebrations and fireworks, kicking out the Brits. I said Brits, not half Brits, so I guess I'm safe. So it recognizes the day of the Declaration of Independence, which was adopted in 1766 during the American Revolution, the legal separation of the 13 colonies from Great Britain, which occurred on July 2nd, 1776, when the Second Continental Congress voted to approve a resolution of independence that had been proposed in June by Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, declaring the United States independent from Great Britain. Get out, you Brits. So after voting for independence, Congress turned its attention to the Declaration of Independence, which is a statement explaining this decision, which had been prepared by a committee of 5 with Thomas Jefferson as its principal author. Now, Congress debated and revised the wording of the declaration, finally approving it on July 4th, a day earlier. John Adams had written to his wife, Abigail. So it's probably a good job this happened, or we'd all be speaking English now and drinking tea and calling one another old chap. Now, America and the United Kingdom remain sister countries and mirror one another in so many different ways and influence one another accordingly. So here's to you, Lady Liberty. God bless you and all who sail in her. Happy 4th of July weekend to everybody in the United States. And those of you in the United Kingdom, don't be bitter. You can come back and visit. If you'd like to come on and get your soapbox out, please email me at Xander@XanderGibb.com. That's Xander@XanderGibb.com. gmail.com. Oh, yes, indeedy. So joining me today to break down the week's hottest topics and to talk about self-publishing and becoming a writer is a broadcaster, author, singer, songwriter, my friend and honorary Glaswegian, the one, the only, Mr. T.P. Egar. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, I'm well, I'm happy. How are you?
I am good. I wish I had a beer in hand, but you know how morose I get after one beer, so I thought I'd better wait until after the show.
Well, and ironically, as an Englishman or a Brit, I'm sat here with a cup of tea. So there you are on the 4th of July.
Well,
yeah, and I'm sure you're celebrating your independence, as I'm sure all Native Americans are thrilled about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody considers the Native Americans, but I'm very torn, with having a British heritage too. So I'm pulled both ways in every aspect of my life.
Yeah, we'll not leave that alone for the sake of censorship.
Absolutely. Let's not go there. We'll save that for a very different kind of show. So, how has your week been, Ty? And what has it? The word escapes me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're doing well today, aren't you? Really, on the mental health front. I've had a very, very strange week, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
I've had my mental health's been quite interesting, but it's all about writing, isn't it? I suppose I was talking about self-publishing. I've been obsessing, but I'm having some really, really interesting feedback about the current book. But surprisingly, having random people talking to me about it without realizing they'd read it until I found them talking about characters. People getting really passionate about characters, which is really cool.
Wow.
And people liking my detective, which is really good because they weren't expecting me to have the kind of the mystery side to it, the detective side to it, and people really taking to my Inspector Jordan, which is really cool because he originally was kind of a side character, I suppose, just a basic character, but that's really good.
Right.
So that's been my week. It's been really writing orientated or book orientated, which I know people keep hearing me say, so sorry if that's becoming dull, but I'm a writer, so it's kind of evolved around that.
I'm a published writer, too. We're going to talk in more detail later about writing and the process of self-publishing later on in the show. But let's talk some Hollywood gossip first of all. So Julianne Hough, the dancer, I was going to call her a star, but I guess she is a star, from Dancing with the Stars, didn't hold back in a recent interview with Redbook, analyzing her current and past relationships. She's been dating hockey player Brooks Leach since December, and prior to that was with Ryan Seacrest. Now, they originally split in March 2013, allegedly because of their busy schedules, but it seems there was more to the breakup than that. Every relationship, there was nothing wrong or bad, but there was nothing right, Julianne Hough said of her previous romances. I had one foot out because I didn't want to get hurt, and I didn't say what was on my mind because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers, and I needed to be perfect. Obviously, nothing to do with the fact that we think that Ryan Seacrest is a big old mo, allegedly, of course. Now, what do you make of all this, Ty? Are we really interested in this Z-list celebrity and who she's slept with and who she hasn't, and whether it worked with Ryan Seacrest? Are we that interested in these celebrity relationships?
Well, to be fair, okay, right now for people in Britain, I'm just going to we need to translate this, okay? Because the only reason I know she exists is because I am out of the closet in admitting that I love the movie Burlesque, okay?
Right.
So, and she's in it. I was going to say she stars in it, but that's just pushing it. That's just taking things too far. She is in it. She appears in it.
She serves the tea, does she?
Yeah, I think she appears on stage at some point dancing.
Right.
And Ryan Seacrest, because I am an incredibly shallow human being, he's very cute, so I am aware he inhales and exhales somewhere on planet Earth. I am assuming that one of them is promoting their so-called careers currently, or the hockey player is. Or the hockey player is. I'm not really sure. Other than that, I have absolutely no idea why anybody on planet Earth would give a flying thought as to why any of them are dating each other or used to be, really. But, there's my comment of the day.
I kind of totally agree with that. Yeah, one of them's obviously got a book coming out. In fact, I thought, should I go to the media to get publicity for my book to talk about the famous people that I have slept with, the ones that I've loved and lost for a night or two? Is it gonna help my book to sell if I talk about which 80s pop star I used to date, or which politicians I have slept with, et cetera, et cetera? Do you think Do you think it says something about your product when you need to stoop to those levels to get attention? Because surely if your book is good or your product is good, that should be enough. You shouldn't have to be resorting to talking about who you slept with and who you broke up with just to get that level of attention. I mean, would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I despise and detest these tacky kiss and tell. I don't like the books. I don't like the stories. If you have to go on some chat show and whinge and whine and sob about your past relationship, I mean, unless they kick the crap out of you and then people have the right, do you know what I mean? Then, well, they should be in court. They shouldn't be on the chat show talking about it.
Yeah,
but as you've just said as well, thankfully, the people who I may not shared a mattress with in the 80s and 90s, who are still out there, there are two of them out there who are very successful. But the reason that both those men can lie easy in their beds and not worry is because they know that I have some self-respect and integrity and would never dream of discussing our former life together. So,
I thought Liberace was dead.
Fuck you. Oh, no, sorry. Get it right.
Oh,
here.
sorry,
Lady.
listeners.
That's all I have to say.
He's suggesting fornication on the airwaves.
I just visualised myself with Liberace then. Sorry, that was so funny. But yeah, so because, I mean, it's just so tacky. Oh, sorry, that could be the end of the show. I can't stop laughing.
It's all right. It's all right. You're here to have fun as well as to educate and entertain. I do kind of go on.
Somebody please Photoshop that. I want to see myself lying in bed with Liberace. But anyway, but seriously,
that's your Christmas present sorted out.
Yeah, definitely. Please, I want that. I swear to God, I would print that and frame it. But it really makes me think. I am so talented. I must talk about the people I have slept with. It's just tragic.
Right? It's kind of. I actually. The people that know about a couple of famous people that I've been involved with, when they bring it up, I don't want to talk about it, and they say, "Oh, so and so was on the TV the other night. Remember when you used to see them?" I was like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
You know, because it's done, isn't it? It's like saying, "What did you have for dinner last year?" You know, it's gone. It's done. And if you've got to talk about that kind of thing to elevate your level of celebrity, if the person you slept with is more famous than you, and you have to talk about them to elevate your level of celebrity, what does it say about your talent or your product or the things that you've done? It kind of says to me that you don't believe in them enough, Because there's no way I'll be giving interviews to the New York Times and telling them about the notches, the celebrity notches on my bedpost. I want to talk to them about the book. And when Michiko Kakatani comes to isn't that a great name? What's your name? Michiko Kakatani. When she comes to my book launch party in a couple of weeks, I won't be telling her about my liaisons with Adam Lambert and my threesome with him and Lady Gaga. It just won't come into the conversation,
which is a good
hey,
thing,
she
really.
held the camera.
Just for the sake of the lawsuits alone, really. Just be a good
absolutely.
idea.
Yeah,
but,
so
no,
you always got to have a woman there to make the tea, of course. I mean, someone's got to do it.
no misogynistic attitude there whatsoever, Xander.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But of course not.
And then
no,
she can wash up before she leaves. Of course, it's of course it's like the dumb thing. I'm not sexist at all. I would make Adam Lambert make the tea for me and Gaga while we gossiped. I wouldn't be sexist towards Gaga. No way. Not knowing how her fans kind of behave. Now, there's this kind of like in Hollywood, people have suggested that Ryan Seacrest might be homosexual. I'm going to say allegedly because we don't want to get sued, but we've got Knuckles, so there's nothing you can get. But do you think that a lot of kind of like celebrities still stay in the closet, or do you think it's just that when they're kind of really good looking that's the gay rumors start?
I think it's a bit of both. Sadly, I think there are still a lot of people who don't come out and it will affect their career. We've seen it happen, which is still a tragedy. But as also as well, and here we go. I'm not the most like gay man in the gay community, but I think a lot of the time it is. Yeah, it's wishful thinking in the gay community. It's thought, if he's attractive or she's attractive, they have to be gay. We are claiming them, which is a lot of BS as well. So yeah, there's always those rumours, isn't there? An actor becomes successful and he's well built and he's good looking. Oh, well, he's gay. He must be gay. And then of course there's always the press. There's always that rumour mill because it sells papers or glossy rags or whatever the hell it is that sell these days. So there's always that rumour mill that goes around. Personally, I could care less whether you're gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual, whatever.
Me either.
If you're a talented
actor, as long as you're paying for
actress,
dinner, that's all that matters, isn't it? As long as you're paying for dinner. I mean. Let's face it. If I enjoy your music or I enjoy your acting, I'm going to come and see your movie, or I'm going to buy your music, or I'm going to read your book, whatever. It's not, my thought isn't, are you gay or straight, or are you lesbian or straight, or are you, whatever. That's not my first thought. It's kind of like, are you good at what you do? But having said that, I mean, they used to say, like, no publicity is bad publicity. I mean, last year and even the beginning of this year, I obviously, without going into lots of detail, being an A-list celebrity, of course, I was, had a lot of hassle from a certain wannabe, and it actually only elevated my status, really, which is kind of funny how the ideology was to diminish my status, but it had the opposite effect because of my reaction. But I do think that sometimes things that you read about celebrities do make a difference. Like I don't want to go into it a lot today, but the Ralph Harris thing in England. I'll never think of the song "Two Little Boys" in the same way again. Will you? I mean.
No, but that devastated me because he was a childhood hero of mine. All those accusations and all those celebrities that were accused, he was the one I didn't want it to be true about. I didn't really care about the rest. Well, obviously I cared about the victim. I didn't want it to be true for the victim's sake. But out of all of them, please don't let it be true about Rolf Harris. That devastated me. Yeah. Because he was such a hero of mine, growing up. And as it turns out, as far as things are going at the moment, it seems that he was a real bloody monster. So, who knows? But so obviously that is bad publicity. I mean, it was Madonna, I think, wasn't it? It says all publicity is good publicity. But I mean, really, at the time, she had to say that because she was being attacked in every direction. But then she quoted that, and look at her. She's one of the most successful. I mean, she knew what she was doing.
Exactly.
She's a very clever woman, and very talented woman. Because that sort of not annoys me as well. People, would say about her, oh, she's talentless, and I'm not a stupid thing to say. But
I know.
Here she is, and here she will stay. She's in the history books as far as music goes. So.
Well, it's kind of. I don't know. I think there's a real jealousy element in all of this as well, especially with like other artists. Now, I read something on Facebook, and I'm not going to mention the person's name because they're kind of like Z-list, and they're from the UK, and they're a real wannabe. And he said, I think it's detestable when people liken me to Lady Gaga because I'm so much more talented than her, and I just peed myself with laughing, and I was like, you wish. You really wish. I mean, when you make comments like that, you've really got to be able to back it up with being, really freaking talented, because when you're not, I mean, the guy's not a bad singer, but he's not many kind of like notches above karaoke. In all fairness, and as a singer, I can say that and say it with all confidence. But if someone said to me, "Oh, Xander, you kind of like Lady Gaga," I would take that as a compliment because I think she's fabulous, or even Madonna. But I just have to laugh when these wannabes say things like that because you should be so lucky to sound like that person,
Well, at the end of do you know what? I don't take any of it. I ignore any of it. At the end of the day, I'm just happy that people still want to come and hear me sing, and still buy. People are still buying the Alchemy album, and people still ask me what I want to do, and people have got excited about the fact when they heard that I'm recording a solo album. People have got really excited about that, and that to me is really flattering and really great news that people still want to hear me record new things. So. People can say what they want about me. I still have a fan base, so I'm happy.
Absolutely, I totally get that. So we're going to go gay for a minute now, Ty. We know how we actually get told that the show is too gay, but we're going to go totally gay now.
Okay.
Have you got your pink tutu on? Because I've got mine on for this section.
I wear it every show.
Good. Me too. I hope you're wearing the one with the matching song that I sent you in your Xandermonium co-host kit. So Burger King concocted yet another way to have it your way. Last weekend was Gay Pride, and they invented a Gay Pride burger. Now, the Proud Whopper, I peed my pants when I heard that. Would you like a Proud Whopper? Proud Whopper, as it is called, comes wrapped in rainbow-colored wrapper with this inscription: "We are all the same on the inside." And it will be sold through Thursday at one Burger King restaurant on San Francisco's Market Street that was at the heart of the route for last weekend's 44th annual San Francisco Pride Celebration and Parade. Now, Burger King on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. planned to post a 2-minute video about the Proud Whopper on its YouTube channel, saying it showcases who we are as a brand, says Fernando Machado, the Senior Vice President of the Global Brand Management at Burger King. It shows how we as a brand believe in self-expression. The inspiration behind the unusual burger wrap and video, he says, is Burger King's localized efforts to put into motion actions that support its recently tweaked slogan, "Be Your Way." I mean, what the frick is this all about, Ty?
Well, it's Burger King, isn't it? Cashing in on the gay community to flog more burgers. And I think, but on the other hand, they're also saying we're supporting the gay community. So as far as I'm concerned, all power to them. Yay, go Burger King. Because we mercilessly market ourselves, don't we? We will mercilessly anything. We do. We and you and I we slagged off McDonald's for promoting Sochi and Coca-Cola for promoting Sochi. So really, what can we do but pat Burger King on the back for promoting us? They didn't promote Sochi, they kept them out, So I say all power to them. Because what they're saying to people is, all right, they're mercilessly using us, but, we promote ourselves as musicians within the gay community, even though we're not, we're just musicians who happen to be gay, but do you know what I mean? So we all use each other to promote. So, but what they're doing is standing up and saying, we're saying that gay people are just the same as everybody else. All right, they're going to use it to flog burgers, but the point is they're using their voice in a positive way for the gay community. So I'm all for it.
I mean, I actually thinking on, I tend to agree with you. When I first read it, I thought, another company that are looking to, cash in on the gay community and the Pride weekend, et cetera, et cetera. But you're absolutely right. But let me ask you this: how many gay people do you think actually stopped eating at McDonald's? Those of the ones that actually still did because of the level of crap they put into their food. I even read that there's a like 0.02% arsenic in the chicken nuggets. So, but how many of those left that are gay people that are still eating Burger King? McDonald's. Do you think actually stopped eating it because of the Sochi thing?
Probably very few, and they'll still be drinking Coke and Diet Coke. But also, I mean, like you listed on your website the amount of Coca-Cola products. There's a certain diet fizzy orange drink that I used to drink going to the cinema that I didn't realise was made by Coca-Cola. So,
right.
Who knows what will happen through, over the time through the changes. Ultimately, it's the politics we need to change in Russia, So who knows? But this is where I've got to a point now where this is why I'm saying, because I know I might have surprised you a little bit by saying, yeah, go Burger King. But what I've got to now is the point where anybody who is standing up and is pro-gay, is pro-gay community, I'm standing next to and saying, right, fine, that's cool, and Burger King have a worldwide voice. So,
right.
Yes, of course, they're promoting themselves, of course they are, but we all we all do that. We promote ourselves. Everything is selling itself somehow and somewhere. But the point is, a huge company like Burger King worldwide is standing up and saying it's supporting gay rights, really, in the way it's saying we're all the same, we're all equal, So
I had a different. I agree with you, but I had a different approach to it before I felt that. So, well done for changing my mind. Round of applause to you, Tyhe. Did you know we have sound effects on the show?
No, I thought we don't. I'm gonna not stop.
So that was your round of applause. I had actually thought of it in a different way, that it was just kind of exploitation. But I think you're actually right. A couple of years ago here, Target made a donation. Target are a company. They're a bit like what's that? Argos in England. They're kind of like the equivalent of that. And they made a donation a couple of years ago to a guy called Tom Emmer, who is totally out and out anti-gay. He actively protests against gay people and the gay lifestyle, and they donated to his campaign. So gay people boycotted Target for all of 5 minutes. Now, the thing that kind of bothers me about the LGBTQI ABCD community is that they're so damn fickle. They'll boycott for 5 minutes, but as soon as they fancy a Coke, they'll go get one. So what do we actually gain from boycotting for 5 minutes?
But then all you can do is be yourself. Do you know what I mean? You can't change anybody else, but you can change yourself. You can make you can make those personal decisions, and that's all you can do. You can use your voice, obviously, as we do, and as a musician and as a writer. But that's all you can do, So there's no, you just exhaust yourself running around the world trying to change other people. So all you can do is just say, this is who I am. I am Tyhe Egar, This is what I believe. This is what I think is right. This is what I campaigned for. And I am letting you know that this is what's happening, and this is what I am campaigning for, and I think you should know about it. But it's entirely up to you what you do with it. And that's all you can do. You can't change another person.
It's kind of like 10 years ago when people first started recycling. I used to have this ideology: what's the point in me doing it, because nobody else does. And there came a point when I thought, well, actually that's a really bad ideology to have, because if everyone thinks like that, then no one's going to do it. So I started to recycle, and I recycle everything now, everything possible to recycle. But I think that a lot of people have the attitude that oh well, if other people are doing it, well I should too. But it's imperative to stand up and be counted, because people learn, change, and grow by the example they see with others. Don't you agree?
Well, absolutely, and I think it's changed a little bit now, but America was the worst polluter in the world. And it was Bush who had that attitude, actually went to a summit meeting and said, listen, guys, if the rest of the world just bring yours down by another 2%, we won't have to bother at all. And that was the Bush Jr., obviously, the maniac. That was his attitude about everything. If the rest of the world just makes a bit more effort, we won't have to bother our arse. So But it is. But as I say, you can't change another person, but you can make them aware, and then hopefully they will want to change. But sometimes it is by making people aware that they do change because they're not aware a lot of the time. But that, again, is obviously how governments get away with murder because they don't put that information out there and we don't understand necessarily what we're doing. And again, that's why, campaign is out there.
And we kind of lead by example, don't we, somewhat? But going back to George Bush, I actually used to think that I used to have this ideology that all Republicans were so supportive of George Bush, but they weren't. There was a lot of Republicans that didn't like George Bush and didn't like his policies and the way that his administration operated, which actually made me kind of like heave a sigh of relief, because I think as you get older and you evolve, my political evolution that I talk about a lot kind of like opened me up in other areas, because we all tend to generalize. But I think as you get older, you don't want to put everybody into the same box. You actually want to see what individuals think, rather than say all Republicans are this, or all gay people are that, or all this group are that, or all women are. You know what I mean? I think we have to stop generalizing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, myself and my best friend have very different political views, but when actually you sit us down and discuss our ideals or our intentions, they're actually quite similar in what we want to see happen to the human race. We don't, it's not that one of us wants to be fabulously rich and the other wants to blow it up, kind of thing. They're actually very similar ideals and ideas. It's just that our politics, would come at it in different directions. But ultimately it will be the same goal. So yeah, absolutely, things change, and we become mature. We don't all we want to stop throwing eggs at people and start voting in the right direction, I suppose.
Well, when does that happen? There are still people I'd like to throw eggs at, but I'm too refined nowadays to do that, and I wouldn't want to waste an egg. It's such a waste to throw an egg at some people. But honest. Go on.
Well, that's the change, isn't it? As you get older, you realise that the egg's quite valuable. It's a food, it's a commodity.
Exactly. There is this trick that kids do here where they take toilet paper and they fill your tree or your house, and they TP your house, they call it.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's just the same ideology. I mean, I wouldn't waste all that. I wouldn't waste all that toilet paper. I mean, spot the Jew. I mean, that would last a year. Toilet paper.
But I had a great conversation with somebody. It was a client who told me that her brother got sentenced to 6 months in prison because they still have the orange marches here, which are incredible. Bigoted hate marches. Which are basically Protestant against Catholic, and they're just ridiculous. But she said, her brother got 6 months in prison for throwing tomatoes at the march, and I said, that's a little bit over the top, isn't it? That's terrible. She said, no, the tomatoes were still in the tin.
Fancy throwing canned tomatoes. That would kill you, wouldn't it?
Well, it hurt.
I had a can of sodas for it when I lived in London. This guy was being homophobic towards me in a store, and obviously I stood up to him and told him to go forth and multiply, and he threw a can of soda, and it hit me in the face and cut my cheek open, and I was surprised how a can could really do so much damage. But I guess if it hit me in the head, I could have ended up with concussion.
Well, that could have explained a lot, though.
We've lost you, Ty. Where have you gone?
You should keep that in.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't think that a can could do much damage, but I think a can of tomatoes could probably do more damage than a can a can of soda.
But that's where the real me comes into play. You see, I think it's perfectly acceptable to throw cans of tomatoes at bigots. It's just the way I am.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you do get arrested for it. I wonder if you'd get arrested for actually throwing real. What was that politician in England that got something thrown at them? I can't remember. It was a few years ago. They got some food substance thrown at them, and he punched them for doing it.
Oh, that was. Oh no, that was. Oh, I can't remember his name. He was a Labourite. Yeah, two Jags. Two Jags. What was his name?
Oh,
Prescott.
yeah, the guy from Hull. John Prescott.
Yeah, Alan Prescott. John Prescott. Yeah.
Yep.
He. Yes, but he was. Yeah, he couldn't walk past the pastry factory though. He was. He was a strange man. Yeah.
But what was it he had thrown at him? I can't remember. So, but that was technically assault.
I'm sure it was an egg.
It was what?
It was an egg. I think it was an egg.
I'm surprised he didn't, whip it on a fryer and make an egg sandwich, knowing him. But that was termed as assault. But he punched the guy. He beat the guy up, didn't he, for doing it? So they couldn't charge the guy who threw the egg without charging John Prescott. So they let the guy go. Yeah. But I thought that was funny. Recently, what's her name? Hillary Clinton got a shoe thrown in her face while she was doing a talk at some college or other. But didn't George Bush got a shoe thrown at him when he was in Iraq? And the guy was put away for like 7 years. I mean, go figure.
Really?
Yeah.
If I threw a shoe at George Bush, I'd still be wearing it.
Right. I guess you're another one of these people that doesn't like George Bush.
I think the man he should have been in Guantanamo Bay. If you're talking about terrorists, Bear was a terrorist.
Exactly. They came up with this recently, didn't they? That they just found this chemical weapons factory. So they're now saying that it wasn't faulty information that they went into Iraq, because the information was that there was nuclear technology, and chemical weapons are not nuclear technology. So we did go into Iraq on faulty information.
But it wasn't just that. It's the way he behaved with you guys. It was the way he treated his own people. He was a monster. He was a monster. He was a thief. He was a horrible. Oh God, just don't even start me. He should have been locked up, and the keys should have been swallowed by somebody.
Absolutely. Definitely they should impeach Obama, but they should have impeached George Bush as well. In fact, they should have never given him the job. Obama is definitely turning into the worst president in history. Unfortunately, I was really behind him from the beginning, but George Bush is a second, very close second. Let me just give out the number if anybody wants to call in. We seem to not get so many calls. I think people are afraid, but we're obviously very timid and shy, aren't we, Ty? So we wouldn't be
absolutely.
We wouldn't be cruel to anyone that called in. So give us a call on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. You can talk about George Bush. You can talk about throwing a shoe at George Bush. You can talk about the Iraq War. You can talk about what you like. You can even ask Ty questions about his book. We're going to go on to that segment right now, and we're going to start to talk about writing and self-publishing. So let's go right to the heart of the matter with this, Ty. Obviously, before we even get to self-publishing, you've got to write the book. You've got to have a good product, because you can't just sell any old shit, can you, basically?
Well, you can. It just might not sell.
Well, that woman that wrote 40 Shades of Grey, apparently, apparently that wasn't as good as it possibly could have been. And to begin with, they had to really sort that out when they were making it into a movie, apparently.
Well, it was 50 Shades of Grey to start with, yeah. And it was apparently, so supposedly, I have not read it, but supposedly, grammatically, it was not the greatest work of art. So it had to be changed around. But I did read a small piece of it, actually. My friend at work had it on her Kindle, and she was reading it, and she said it was fun. And I read a small piece of it, and it really made me laugh. And it was supposed to. It was a piece that was really humorous.
Right.
But I didn't read the whole thing because works, on heterosexual sex really don't float my boat. So I haven't read the book.
No, of course.
Or any of the others. But I mean, really, say what you will, she's sold more books than we have. So but it also but it just goes to show that if somebody likes your story and picks it up, then of you're up and running. But I don't know whether she's self-published or not. I think she was published through an actual agency. I can't remember the publishing house that did it. But you don't have to be a genius to write a book. It's not about you don't have to be Shakespeare to have a good story in your head.
So let's start at the beginning then. What should we advise people to do if they want to write a book? Now, I know you and I did it a different way, but we would both totally agree that there's no one formula to writing a book, is there? You do it how you do it. You do it your own way. But would you advise people to write a plan of what they're gonna of the storyline if they can?
No. I didn't, right? Now, you obviously, as you say, you did it a different way. This is how I did it, okay? I had a story in my head. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't really know how it was going to start. So I just started typing. Now, the one thing I will say, though, that I learned is that it's true, I think, that the opening line is the hardest part, because that opening line is the first line that a reader is going to see, and it has to grab them. And your first paragraph, if people are not interested in that first paragraph, you've lost them, and they're not going to carry on with the rest of the book. So for me, that was very true, and I'd read that. A lot of authors that I'd ever read anything about it said that. So your opening line has got to be good, and your opening paragraph's got to be good. But I didn't write a huge synopsis about it, where I was going to go. I had a few lines written down. I knew what I wanted to say. And I just started writing. Just start typing, and then go back and read it. And you can edit what you want. It's your story. But just let your fingers just type. Let your mind go, and write what you want to write. And then go back after you've written a few pages and see what you want to do. But don't go out and buy the big leather diary. And don't you know what I mean? You don't have to have loads of writing materials around you. You just need a laptop or a computer.
Buy
whatever.
a big leather whip instead. That's probably better.
But don't bog yourself down with loads of materials. You don't need it. Just start typing.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I did, I mean, I'm glad I did in a way, was I read what lots of other people said about writing, and to be honest, some of the tips were quite good, but others were just ridiculous. Like don't make your paragraphs too long, and don't do this and don't do that. I think you have to set your own rules for a book, and obviously the story has to flow. So each time I read the couple of a few chapters before to get me kind of like back into it. But what I thought my book was going to be and what it actually turned out to be were two different things. It kind of took on a life of its own. But you found that too, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And all this nonsense about, a chapter should be equal length and all that rubbish, absolute rubbish. And you're right, you do what you feel is right for you. And definitely,
exactly.
my story became the story I had in my head. It didn't be completely different by the end of it, but it changed completely in the middle, and it became a different thing. And at the end of it, I had, book 2 has become something completely different because of book 1.
Right.
And it certainly changed in the middle because your characters change. As you're writing the story and you write those characters are real for you. And if they're not real, you're doing it wrong. If you can't feel those characters, then get rid of them because you're not writing them properly. They must be real to you. You must be able to see them and feel them and breathe with them. And they must be that real or you're not doing it right. And they change because as they become real, they walk in a certain way, they move in a certain way, and they become people. And that story changes and flows. And you get different ideas as well, as you turn a corner in your mind with that character, the story changes. It's like changing channels on a TV. So the story becomes bigger as well. So a story that you might think is only going to be 20 pages long suddenly becomes 30, 40, 50 pages long,
Do you remember when I said to you, oh, how many words was your book? And you told me, and I was like, oh, mine's not going to be not going to be that long at all. And then once I started writing, it just because it took on a life of its own. It just grew and grew and grew and grew, and I thought I was going to get everything in one book. I thought it was going to be complete, but there's going to be a second book. Part 2 of The Boy from Beyond the Ice House, because his story doesn't end where it ends, in the first book. It
Yeah.
kind of does carry on. I don't even know exactly where he's going in the second book, because I think the beauty of it is that it does take on its own life. It does dictate the way that it's going to go. But the beauty of it for me was that, I don't want to give any spoilers from my book, but one of the relationships in the book, when the relationships end, I was sad that the relationship had ended. That's how much it was a part of what I was living. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's real for you.
Yeah, it really did kind of like take on this reality. But so let's say you've written your book. What's the next advice we could give to people once you've finished your book? Because I know we both had different experiences, but we both have some good information about it.
Your next, once you've finished it, when you're sure that you've finished it, you get a decent editor, and it must be somebody, and this is what you've got to do, right? Save your pennies in the bank, because you must find a decent editor and proofreader, because you cannot, I don't care how good you think you are, you need to get a professional editor or proofreader to read through it and make those changes and edit the differences, okay? And then you get it back, and what you do then is your final proofread it yourself, and you read through it for the final time and make sure that you are happy with it when all those changes and the corrections have been made, and then you get it Kindleized. If you're going to self-publish onto Amazon and ebooks and iBooks and whatever, it needs to be Kindleized, and you need to get that done properly. But it must be done after it's edited and proofread. It must have all those corrections made and changed.
Absolutely.
And you need somebody else to do that. Do not try and do it yourself.
You do. And don't make the mistake that I did, because I actually got someone to edit mine on recommendation. Don't do it just on recommendation alone. Check the person out. Make sure that find out what they've edited before. Even take a look online. Every book that's on Amazon in Kindle form lets you read the first few chapters for free. So go and check out and see how well they have edited other things. Now, I'm sure that if I'd done that, the editing process would have been better for me. But I didn't do that. But one of the things that we've come to the conclusion is that all of these things are a learning curve. Now, the other thing that I did that Tyhe didn't do is Tyhe self-published. Now, I self-published, but with a company. I'm not going to name the company because I've not been ever so happy with their performance. I paid them a one-off fee to put to Kindleize my book and to put it onto various sites, including Amazon and Barnes & Noble and iBooks. And also, that part of that process is that they're supposed to give you advice. Now, they spin you this line that it's so hard to do yourself, and some people won't deal with you, blah, blah, blah. Don't do what I did. Learn from my mistake. It is possible to do it yourself. And one thing that I know Tyhe for sure will be doing in the future is Tyhe will be working with authors to assist them to do this. And we'll give you more information about that. But it is possible to do it yourself with some help, but not actually go and pay extortionate fees to people to do stuff that you can do yourself. Would you agree with that, Tyhe?
Absolutely, and you're right, that's one of the services our company will be offering, because what you can do for yourself, and before and this is not me saying like these companies go, oh yes, give us lots of money and we'll do it for you. This is how you do it yourself, but the editing is really important. You must get that done by somebody who knows what they're doing. But if you're going to self-publish, I did it first with Amazon, and you simply go on and follow their step-by-step instructions, and they're not difficult, but make sure that when you're going onto all territories, it's very, very important that you read their instructions about royalties, because depending on what territories you want to sell on, territories, i.e. which countries you want to make your book available to, depends on your royalties, okay? Now, Amazon takes 30%. You cannot avoid this, but you will pay a publishing house and an agent much more than that, okay? So don't get greedy and try and avoid paying somebody's fees. Yeah, you cannot avoid paying fees, okay? So don't get greedy and try and avoid them because you'll end up actually screwing yourself, okay? But if you follow those steps, you self-publish, you're giving a publishing, author's page that you need to set up yourself. You can link that then to your Twitter page, to your website. You must get yourself a website. This is the easiest place to market yourself from. And then there are other steps you can go through. We will go through this on Xandermonium with you again at another time. And also what you can do as well is you'll get in advice from Broken Flowers when our website set up this month, and obviously through Xandermonium. But these things are not outrageously complicated, and you can do them for yourself. And also what Amazon do as well, we need to get fees off Amazon for this, by the way. What you can do with Amazon as well, they will give you a graph on your bookshelf page that shows you what territories your book is selling in and how much royalties you have earned so far. And they will literally break it down month by month for you. And those royalties are then paid into a bank account that you're given. What you must also do, though, is generate an international bank account number and a BIC number. And that's it. That's you up and running. And also, the interesting thing is, an agent, if you read online, all these agents will happily represent you after you've sold around 70,000 copies plus. Now, who the hell needs an agent when they've sold 70,000 copies plus? Because trust me, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to afford to represent yourselves. So, but we'll update you with information after this as well. But that's how simple it is. And I say it's simple, but you've got to read those instructions. Don't fly through them. Don't try and ignore them, and do not try and avoid paying fees because you're going to have to pay them to anybody. So just, take your time. But you must get your editing done professionally.
So I want to talk a little bit about the PR side of things. When your book is ready to come out, one of the things that I did, and I did for a couple of months before, was I wrote a synopsis, and I put that with a picture of the front cover of the book, and was giving teasers about the book, kind of like leading up to it. Now, the thing is that Amazon is not going to advertise for you. None of these companies that are set up to sell your book for you are going to advertise it for you. Some of them give you book reviews, but to be honest, this is something you really need to get on top of quickly, because if you don't, it will affect your sales. It's not enough to just rely on sales to friends and family. So get your ass out there, put yourself on authors' websites, ask people to review your book. I know some people give away copies of their book so people will review them. But if your book is good enough, people will give you a review when they've paid for your book. But it's always good to ask people to do that. Do you want to add to that about the advertising process, Tyhe?
I think you're right. I mean, what I would suggest to do is, if you've got a budget, obviously it depends on your current situation, but what I'm about to do as well is, once our website's up and running, is go on to Google Word as well. And if you've got the money, bid for words and set up your search engine, because it's a fraction of a penny per word. So that basically when people are searching online, as we all do, when you go on Google and you're searching for something, it will boost your words, it'll boost you up the search engine drive, and that's going to get people into your website and make your website really easy and accessible, and get that as well, because then you're going to get hits on your website, link that to your Twitter page. You've got to use your social media carefully and cleverly and get it that way. But Xander's right. I mean, people will very easily say, oh, yes, give me a copy, give me this, give me it for free, and I'll promote it. And once you've got your Twitter page, once these people realize that you've self-published, by the way, you will get endless followers on Twitter saying, if you pay me $10, I've got 250,000 followers, I'll tweet your book. Don't do that. Yeah. Find other people out there who are self-published. Network with them. Advertise each other's books, because you've got nothing to lose. Get that done. Build a network up. But just be clever with social media. There are billions of people out there, millions and millions and millions of people out there who are social networking. Find each other. Do it that way. But Xander's right. Your PR is really important. But do it yourself. Don't give freebies out. Unless some huge magazine, like New York Times, and if the New York Times are asking for a free copy, tell them to go straight to hell. They can afford to buy a copy.
Exactly. Absolutely. Another thing that I would say about that, one thing that I do every day or every couple of days, because people will get sick of you, I send a tweet to prominent people in my list, like people that are famous, people that have got lots of followers, and I say, hey, this is the link to my debut novel, The Boy from Beyond the Ice House. Please retweet. And some will, and some won't. Don't be peeved off that they won't do it, because some won't. Some will really just not do it. But most people will. So that's a great way to get people to see your book. Now, anytime anybody tells you that they've read your book, every time someone's messaged me and said, Xander, I'm reading your book, I'm really enjoying it, I always take the opportunity and say, thanks, would you mind writing a review on Amazon when you've read it? And mostly they're more than happy to do that. It's imperative that you use these opportunities to get people to help to promote you. Because let's face it, I'm sure if your friend had a book out or doing something, you would want to promote them. So use all of these opportunities. They can only say no. That's the worst thing they can say no. Well, they could say go forth and multiply. But I think most people are happy to help, aren't they, Tyhe?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's getting people to write reviews is the hardest thing, actually, because they'll say, oh, yeah, I'll do it, and then they genuinely forget. So getting reviews is the hardest thing. So, yeah, it's always worth asking. Because I actually realised the other day, a couple of my friends had said, I keep meaning to go back and write a review, and they haven't yet. But you can't keep hassling people. But you can eventually, can just gently nudge them and say, bad way, you still haven't written a review. And we'll get back and do it. And yeah, there's always asking people to retweet. But it's about the effort, because I know people think, oh, I publish a book, that's all I have to do. And sadly it isn't. The work comes after.
No. I even employed a tactic. Because some of the stories in my book are based upon real situations, I actually based characters on people, and so I've told those people who that character has been based on them, and from there they will say to people, Xander Gibb has written a book and there's a character in me based upon it. Now, if there's a book about you with a character based upon you, you're really going to want to read it and tell others too. So all of these are great little tactics, but you will find your own. Don't be afraid to try things. A lot of this is trial and error, because if you don't have a kind of expertise in marketing, you're going to have to find a lot of these things yourself. But register yourself on various databases. It's like, if you look on my Facebook, my Twitter page, there's a company called, I think it's called Authors DB, like Authors Database, and they let you register for free. So go and register with places like that, which will increase your searchability. And use your book title as a hashtag. When you do Follow Friday, like this week, leading up to it, I was using my book title as a hashtag. Instead of that, when the book came out, I was putting the link on every Follow Friday thing. Because if there's a link, some people will click on it, some of them will not. But it's definitely worth a try. So use all of these things to your advantage to enable you to be able to sell your book. What would you add to that, Tyhe? Sexual favors, blackmail.
I'm always happy for sexual favors. But I think for one show, I was
thinking offering, not asking, but go on.
No, giving. I'm happy to give sexual favors. I think
absolutely.
That's enough for one show, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? We've bombarded people.
You're disgusting, Tyhe. You're banned until next week. Go on, sorry.
No, I think that's enough, for one show. I mean, we can obviously add things to the website. As I say, Bronx Fly's website will be up at some point this month. And we've put things up there, and obviously we'll be offering services directly to authors who want to self-publish. Because there's a lot there. There's an awful lot you can do for yourself, and we will also be we'll be offering editing services to people. And then we'll help people get up online, but then they're managing themselves. We're not offering a management service to people.
No.
We'll happily help will advise people how to get up there and get up and running. But then you're on your own, guys.
Absolutely, and feel free to tweet Tyhe or myself if you have questions, because if it's anything that we can help you with or guide you with, we will. And obviously, Tyhe's company are going to be offering some professional services, so make sure you check them out. We'll give you more details when the website is up, and we'll actually do a whole segment about what the services are that they provide. So those of you out there that are budding authors, get writing, because that's the most important thing. Before you can do any of these other things, you have to have a product. So get yourself together. Get writing. Do some writing every day. Treat it like a job. Make sure you write for at least an hour a day, and set yourself minimum limits of how much you actually want to write a day, because it's important to be disciplined, because if you're not, you'll still be. My book took 10 years to write. I have to share this, because I started it and wrote the first few chapters and then left it. And if it hadn't have been for the fact that Tyhe had written a book, I'm actually very grateful for him, because we tend to motivate each other with things. We've been friends for 25 years, so we are very motivating to each other. I wouldn't have written my book and got it finished, and it wouldn't be doing so well. So thanks for that, Tyhe.
You're welcome.
We bounce off one another, not literally, figuratively, with ideas and stuff. So it's good to have a friend that's doing these kind of things too. So make sure you network is the word that I'm looking for. We don't bounce off each other. We network, don't we, Tyhe?
Absolutely. But actually, I'm just thinking as well, what really you're talking about, because it is important to just start. Don't get freaked out about it. Just start.
Right.
As I said, just start typing. But Jackie Collins gave it, believe it or not, I was watching her interview not too long ago, an incredibly successful author. And she gave a really good piece of advice. She said, if you're really freaked out and you're really worried about writing, even if you only write 1 page a day in a year, you've got a book.
Exactly.
And I thought that was really good. That's really sound advice,
Absolutely. And what we'll actually try and do is not every week, obviously, but we will do some segments on particular areas. We just did a whistle-stop tour today of writing and desktop publishing, but we will do some segments on self-publishing, et cetera, and we'll do that in conjunction with some of the services that Tyhe's company will be offering. So stay tuned for that. Now, we've got to the end of our time together today, Tyhe. Tell people where they can find you on social media. Tell them the name of your book. Tell them where they can find you in Glasgow and where you'll be on Saturday night, so they can come and punch you in the face for being so dirty on the show.
I'm still easy. I'm still easy, Charlie. It's easy to find me on Twitter. I'm still at Tyhe Egar. Capital P, capital P, capital E. You can find my author's page on Amazon, which is Tyhe Egar. And that's it for now. I think, what's my book called? Oh, yeah, Mother's Ruin, which is book one of the Reclamation Wars, which is available on Amazon, Kindle at the minute, soon to be on ebooks. I think
Absolutely.
That's it, isn't it? You've thrown me completely. I'm still in bed with Liberace right now. So.
Well, he's been dead for several years, so he's going to stink a little bit by now.
Yeah, really concerned, isn't it? But,
One thing I want to point out for the readers, for the listeners that are in different regions, if you actually if you're in the UK, if you go to amazon.co.uk and you type in the titles of the book, if you type in Mother's Ruin, or you type in The Boy from Beyond the Ice House, or even if you type in Xander, Gibb, or Tyhe Egar, it will bring you to the products that relate to that name. But go to the Amazon that's in your province, because what it does otherwise is it tells you it doesn't have pricing for you, because it can't convert from one to another, apparently. So go to your province, go to your principality for Amazon and buy that way, because it will take you directly to the product rather than giving you some mumbo-jumbo about it not being able to convert from pounds to dollars. So that's another tip for you. So I think that's about it for today, Tyhe. Anything else you want to add to that? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to request from the listeners?
No, that's me. I'm just going to go make another cup of tea and lie down because I'm exhausted now, really. Happy 4th of July,
He's going to lie down in a dark room with a cold flannel on his face. But for now, I've had fun today. Thank you so much to my very good friend, author Tyhe Paul Egar. Make sure you buy his book. It's called Mother's Ruin, and it's the first book in the series of The Reclamation Wars, and Tyhe will be back with us in a couple of weeks with his own individual brand of humor. Thank you so much, Tyhe, and we will speak to you very soon. Thanks a lot.
See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. That was indeed the fabulous Tyhe Paul Egar. Make sure you check out his book, Mother's Ruin, which is the first book in the Reclamation Wars. I have been Xander Gibb, and you can check out my book too, which is called The Boy from Beyond the Ice House, available on Amazon, in Barnes & Noble, and all good book retailers. We hope you're enjoying the sunshine and this 4th of July weekend. I want to wish you all a very good 4th of July weekend, and also that you have a fabulous week. Thank you for listening to my complete drivel, and I love you all. Bye-bye.